If you're interested to work into Jira for full project management, you are in the right place. So in today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to use Jira for free. So let's get started. Welcome back everybody to TechExpress. My name is Steven. In today's tutorial, let's talk about how to work with the actual Jira. So as usual, what we're going to be talking about today is what is exactly the Jira software application. I'm going to be creating, setting up a Jira account. I'm going to be focusing into a dashboard overview, creating a new project. We're going to talk about some issues and tickets, of course. We're going to talk about boards, workflows, some advanced features, and common mistakes and how to avoid them. Lastly, we can talk about some questions and answers and some tips before we head into the end of the actual video. So with that being said, let's just get started. Well, this is something just easy to understand. This is the #1 software development tool used by the Agile teams. So if you are working by yourself, if you're working for a small business or a huge business, this application can be helping you to get started to scale a little bit up your actual project and your company. So you might be seeing here that we are here into utilization.com. I'm going to leave you guys a link down below in the description so you can get the free version, and you have a few features into a trial version, so you might want to check that out directly into the pricing menu. If you go into the pricing, you can see what is the actual price and the actual plans that come. For example, you have the standard, the premium plan, and the enterprise. I'm going to be leaving you guys this link where you have the standard and the premium free trial version. After that, you can figure out if you want to use the free mode, you want to downgrade to the free mode, or stay into the standard and or the premium plan. So once you click into the link down below, you're going to be seeing something like this. What you want to do is to focus inside utilization.com. We want to focus into the Jira service management. So this one is going to be helping us to manage our business teams. So let's go ahead and select this one and hit now into the one that says next. Now, if you want to focus into release note, documentation, product requirements, adding context to your project, and import the document collaboration of the Confluence. But in this case, we're not going to be focusing a lot on that. So let's go here into next. As you can see, we didn't need it to add any credit card to have access to the free version or the trial version, which I think is really awesome to have that. So now as you can see, have the work email, and now it's going to be asking you for a site. That's correct. It's going to be helping us to create an actual site here with the .installation.net domain. So let's say that my domain is called Tech Support or TechExpress on the YouTube. So I have this option. If I have the green notification, that means that this one is okay to use. So let's go ahead and use the agree button. And just like that, my Jira software is going to be created and the service management is going to be added automatically. So as you can see, we now are going to be having access to the Jira software and the Jira service management. So this development tool comes directly with the collaborative to work with your actual business. Maybe you can add some valuable customers inside this section of installation. Now, usually what I do is to now focus into a template to start with on very first project. So if you're not sure how you can start to work here, I can totally suggest you to start from scratch with a Kanban. This is a simple board to visualize your workflow. So let's hit into next once you choose that option. And I was going to be asking you to create an actual project. So here into this name, you can choose whatever you are looking for. So speaking about project management, let's go for project management. #1. Here's my actual template, and I can go into create my project. If you hit it to show more, you can see that my product type is now working as a team managed or a company managed. So the key is going to be added automatically in here. Let's go for create the project, and automatically I am now inside here. One of the tools that I truly loved about the installation is that you can select to add a few tools to help you connect them later. For example, you have your working persons into Google, into Slack, into Microsoft Teams, into GitHub, or Google Sheet. You have documents into Google Sheets. You can select whatever you're looking for here, for example, these ones, and hit now into next. So all of these elements, all of these new plugins, you might call it, are going to be added automatically. So what I want to be doing here before I continue into the boards, what I love to use is to configure and setting up my actual account. So if you focus into the upper side, into the right part, we have the settings section. And as you can see, we have the user management. If I clicked in here, it's going to be sending us directly into a new tab of the administrator tool of installation. So as you can see, I'm going to hit now into next, and done. So this is the very easy part to add your team members in here. So as you can see, we have the email address, so I can invite the users by adding them into an actual link. And as you can see, they're going to be having access, for example, for the service management as a customer. In this case, I'm going to delete this and add them as access administrator or agents. That's totally up to you. And here into the Jira software, I can add them once again as users, Jira administrator. Maybe you don't want to add your team members for Jira administrator, only just a few of them. Now I have the group membership. For example, let's say these guys are Jira software user stack XP. Now we have personal invitation emails. You want to exclude a few invitations and just send them directly, so your team are now going to be inside your actual section of the product management. So there's step number one. If I focus now here into the left part on where it says groups, you can see different group members, and inside here you can see which one I have access to, what are the actions, and all of that. Lastly, we have the manage tools, so I can manage the users that I just added inside my workflows. So with that being said, we can now go back here into my profile, go into the account settings, and now I am inside the profile and visibility. So in this case, let's say that I wanted just to add a profile photo, or I can create my initials avatars. For example, I kind of like the red color. My initials should be, let's say, for example, TS from Tech Express. Let's go TX and update. And update your header image. I can upload my own if I wanted to. If you don't have one, that's totally up to you. I'm gonna hit into open. Here I have my actual logo. Anyone can see this. Here's my full name, my public name, my job title, organization based in local time. Here's my contact. So all of this information should be filled as you're just getting started. This is why I love to get started first with my actual account and profile. Later on, I can move on into the next step, which is the profile setting. So I have the email, security, account preferences, about your language, time zone, all the connected application, link preferences, and a few products. So after you've filled all the information you think you're actually good with, now I can go back into the installation account, and then later on I can go into my Jira service management. So I'm going to click there. And once again, we're now actually back into the actual board. So as you can see, we actually chose a template that was actually really simple to check out. Here, as you can see, here's the actual board. So let's start with creating our very first issue, our very first project section. As you can see here into the left part, we have the actual dashboard. It says the project management software project. We are currently using actual free plan. Here is actual timeline where we can see all our actual works and the due dates here into the opposite side. So we can change this from weeks, I have the months, I have quarters, or only for dues for today. I can try to exclude or to include this. So now into the right part, you have the quick start. The quick start is going to be helping you to create your actual project. We have done this when we actually created our account. So as you can see, we have everything all right in here. Now it's going to be asking us to map out our project goals. So the project goals is going to be helping us to figure out what are the things that need to be done inside our project. For example, let's say what needs to be done. Let's say in this case, I'm going to focus for create 10 YouTube videos. There you go. So I have now one of them created. So this has an actual icon here for when I clicked in it, I have the inside of it. So I have the watch time things. So let's say that inside these small project goals, I can add the to-do list. So I can go here, view workflow. And as you can see, we have only commonly 3 of them. For example, the to-do, the in progress, and the done. You can hit into edit the workflow so you can add your own as you are getting started. For example, here I have the to do, I have the progress, and I have the done. I can click into one that I kind of like, and I can delete this status or add a new in progress status. And let's say that this one is on schedule. I hit into add, and I move this before done. And now I have to do, in progress, on schedule, and done. This is totally depending on what kind of project you're actually working on. For example, if this is for an architect, you may want to add like some video chats or whatever. In this case, since we're working for YouTube video creations, maybe I wanted to add the to-do list, scripting a video, recording a video, editing a video, in progress, on schedule, using the marketing tools, and publishing this directly into our YouTube videos. So this is how it's actually working the workflow for us. So I'm going to hit now into update the workflow and save and continue. And now this one, the full of them should be enabled into all my actual columns. So as you can see, I have now the to do, in progress, on schedule, and done. So I needed to move this in here. So remember, I have the on schedule and into done. I save the changes. It's really important to save all the changes you're actually working on. Now I can hit back here, and there we go. So I'm gonna hit now into the exit tool because we don't actually want it to work in here. Now let's focus into the left part. As you can see, we have the project section in here, and I can create my first, my second, or my third project. This one is for my YouTube team. I can create a new project for myself or for a new team. Totally depend on you. So for example, I can hit to create project, and it's going to be sending us back again into the project template. So everybody uses the Kanban. You can change it and look out for something different. So I'm going to scroll a little bit down, and you can see that we have a few categories. So I can choose, for example, personal or marketing. I don't know. So usually what we do is to choose the project management. And here I have like a template that can be helping us to have all the elements and all the tools to have a really great project management. So let's go for project management number 2 and hit create the actual project. Now what's going to be happening here is that all the tools, all the elements should be added automatically in here. So I'm going to try to dismiss the quick start because I needed to have like an expanded view of what I have so far. And now as you can see, we have the board. Down here where it says the project management, down we have the board view. I have the list, I have the calendar, there's a timeline, and there's much more. Forums, pages, issues, report, shortcuts, and project settings. Usually what we wanted to focus on, or when your team members get for the very first time here, is to focus into the summary. So they have seen what is the name, my key, the category. In this case, you can create your own category if you're looking for here, and you have the default assigning. I'm going to get now into a list. Now, instead of creating an actual to-do list from board, let's focus into list. If I hit into create, once again, what needs to be done? Let's say that I wanted to work with a full. Now, I have here created the summary, the key, and here's the actual typed. And automatically the status is going to be added as the to-do list. So what I want to do here is just to edit my actual to-do stuff. So what I can do is to choose, for example, I have the category. I can add a new category. In this case, let's say that this one should be for YouTube. So since we don't have one, we wanted to create a new category, assign it for myself. The due date, let's say that I needed to have this by the end of the week, and the priority is high. Labels, you can add a new label if you're looking for. In this case, let's go for social media. It's going to be automatically creating a new label. There we go. And here into created, by default, we have the October 23rd, and the updated is going to be added automatically, and the reported, it would be ourselves. So that would be actually it. Really, really simple to work in there. Now, if I go back into my actual board, you can see that by default, we have the one that we had just created from the actual list. If I click in it, it's going to be popping out a new window where I can see more information, more details about what we're actually going to be working for. So I have the description. Let's say that here, this is a project that's a lot of people working in here. So this is a project that needed to be done by the due date. And you have the instructions. We can add more team members in here. We can add let's say some specification, whatever you actually wanted to add though. So get a hit now into save. You can add linked issues, you can add child issues, we can add some attachments if you wanted to. Now I just took the quick liberty to add the child issues. I'm going to click there, and as you can see, we do have 1 2 3 4 5 6 things to add into this stuff. Now with all this work said, let's talk about issues. So if I focused into the right part, I'm going to close this option. Let's go here into settings. And as you can see, we have the Jira settings. You can open this by typing Ctrl K to search the Jira settings. So let's click here into issues. So the issues are going to be helping us to allow to structure our work within our actual team. So we can assign these issues type to a new hierarchy level on the issue type hierarchy page. So as you can see, we have the issue number 1. We have the epic one. So this one is like a big user story that needs to be broken down, created by Jira software. I have the it help, I have the service request, and I have much more. So you can create your own inside the issues type. So by typing add issue type, now let's say for example, this should be creating let's go for social media issues, and you wanted to make a great description of what is exactly this. In this case, this is just an example. So this is just example number 1. I have a W express. I'm going to just delete that, and I have the level number 0. So I'm going to hit now into add. And as you can see now, I do have the section of the issue type already been created. So by default, I have the epic one. But if I wanted to add a new one after I have done that, I can go into the issue type hierarchy. So by default here into the social media issues, I have the default issue type schemed. So this default issue type scheme have these options. And here's the actual project, which is going to be configured. I can hit into edit, so I can change the issue type schemed. So I can go for IT help, and I can move that in here, or I can just drag and drop and delete it, so I don't want to see this. So I have social media issues into the upper side, service request not so important, task 8 is important, and epic, that will be actually it. So I'm gonna hit now into save, and there we go. So I can go back into my project and I can change my default typed schemes as I am working with my new project. So this is how the actual issues works. I'm going to hit into issues, and as you can see, here are all the things that we have just created, speaking about our issue of the social media stuff. So we have already talked about the boarding views, the list view. Now the calendar and the timeline are for people who wanted to focus into the actual due date. So for example, let's say that I need to have my work done by next Friday. So it's really important for me to see this directly into the calendar. It's going to be working for a lot of people. In my case, I use this like a lot, but the calendar and the timeline actually works to see where you are actually standing at, to see how much time you have left to do your actual work. And you can move from one place into another one if you, let's say, wanted to change from 1 day into 21, or have only 3 days to work in this project. That would be just an example, of course. Forms are going to be helping us to focus, to collect information, and to streamline some requests. Here into the pages, we can work as this was an actual like Google Forms, Google Pages, or Word. We have talked about issues, and the reports are actually going to be working for people who wanted to analyze reports when you're getting started with an actual issue analysis. Since we're working with project management, this might be not that important. So lastly, I'm going to be focusing now to access a new shortcut. So here, for example, let's say that I wanted to add my YouTube channel. So we go for youtube.com, we go for add to Express. And the name should be the social media or YouTube channel. so everybody can focus and go directly into our channel, since we're going to be working a lot with this actual page. So there you go. It's really important to add the HTTPS. So this would be added as an actual web address. And here's my shortcode already been added. There we go. So I can move this later on, the shortcode if I wanted to, but in my case, I'm just going to leave it like that. And now let's focus into a new tip and trick that I can show you to make this a little bit much more easier to work in. So let's go into the upper side. We have worked with the project filters and dashboard. So let's go ahead and look out for apps. Now here, I'm going to click into explore more apps. And we can see they have discover apps and integrations for Jira. Now, integrations can be helping you to do some automations or to do stuff automatically. So if you're working with several applications, the workflow inside Jira should be much more faster. So I can go here and to find new applications, free for all the teams. And as you can see, we have the event calendar, we have the Figma, we have the databases, we have the GitLab, we have the default, we have so much more elements. Let's try with the event calendar for Jira. So I'm going to click there, I'm going to hit get the application and get this now. Now the event calendar for Jira will be added automatically. So we'll be telling you when the event is going to be installed. So I'm going to go into get started. Now this application is particular for people who wanted to add in a specific event on the calendar. So we're going to hit into get started into event calendar. So let's go into get started. Tell us a bit about yourself. Let's go for it. We're working for marketing. We're no more than 20% and we are the director. We're trying to accomplish some planned team events. Let's go into start and create new calendar. So I hit now into save. My calendar is now being created, successfully created, and I want to create a new event for tomorrow. So now here, let's say that I have a Zoom meeting for with all my actual employees here. Here's into my calendar, starts when, ends when, and you can add all the Jira participants. Here's the reminder. And the very amazing part of this is that we have the enter meeting URL. So you can go into Google Meet or Zoom and you can create your custom URL and paste that in here. So you can have all the instructions for your actual event, and automatically the Zoom meeting should be added there. And all the attendees, of course, should be appearing in here, and I can have the accepted, for example, or not answered yet, whatever. So it's going to be really, really great to have this actual tools inside our actual project management. Let's go back into project management once again. And lastly, let's talk about automations. So if I click into a to-do stuff, I'm going to focus into actions. And as you can see, I have automations. I can create my very first automation that can help me to do automatic stuff as I do a specific task. So let's go here into next. So how does an actual automation works? It's something that you just needed to add manually first, but then it's going to be automatically doing once you added your own rules. For example, when something happens, issue is unassign it, and lastly then do this. So let's go for next, and get started. And as you can see, I can create my very first trigger. So I can go for quick actions and go for Jira Epic Management. Approval completed, for example. I choose this one, I have the saved. And when the approval is now being completed, add an action. So let's say that I wanted to create a send an email. So let's go that here is your new task. So when someone approves from my coworkers or my team members, when somebody approves an actual task, they're going to be receiving an email called here is your new task. So I can go for include HTML tags in the email bodies. For example, here is your new task, and I just have to tell them, hey though, thank you for approving your task. Here is more about it. And what I can do is to go back into my issues, copy the URL link, and paste that in there. So send as plain text. I save this. And of course, please provide at least one recipient. So let's go for all customers involved. Okay, hit into save, turn this on, and there we go. So we have created our very first automation. So it's something really easy. Of course, this is just a quick example. You can do so much more than that. So if you don't know how to use automations, the best part of this is that you can create an automation based on an actual template. For example, let's say that I wanted to go here once again into automations. Let's go once again into the board. I select this project. Let's go for actions, create an automation. And what I can do is to create a new one where it says quick actions. You can look out for the one that you're trying to look for. For example, some security stuff, integrations. Let's go for integrations. Start typing to filter components. So incoming web hub. And you can see I have the URL issue, I have the provide multiple issues, I have the please ensure the request, I can add different components, or I can go back into automations, and I have so much more. For example, automatically delete an issue when somebody commented it, automatically delete an issue when you finished, for example, the project. So automatically it's going to be deleted and you'd have to click in it, delete it, and go back again. So this is how actually works the actual automations. As you can see, we have now covered the basics, the whole basics here into Jira software. You don't know how to use the project management. Lastly, we have the summary on the dashboard button where you can see how much stuff have you been working on, the to-do list in progress done, all the updates you have working on, the recent activity of all the people who has been working in the due date for the next task to be done, the priority breakdown, all of it, all the information just in one place, which in this case is the summary. So with that being said, guys, we have now covered once again the basics. You now know how to use the Jira software. There's so much, but truly so much more stuff to work here into Jira. But for today, that will be actually the end of the video. So with that being said, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more great tools of project management. We can talk about Jira, we can talk about so much more project management, for example, Asana, there's ClickUp, there's Monday, there's so much more stuff out there. So we can wait to see how you can work into Jira. Once again, you have the link down below in the description. Thank you so much for watching the video. Once again, don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. And well, with that being said, we can hopefully see you on the next video. See you soon.